Huawei Ascend P6 Review. The P6 is positively svelte by comparison to the Mate, though, weighing just 4 ounces, and measuring 5.2 by 2.57 by 0.24 inches, 132.6 by 65.5 by 6.18 millimeters, compared to the Mate's 6.5 by 3.4 by 0.4 inches of Android heft. That size difference is important. Crammed into that more diminutive form, it not only offers a greater pitch 312, but also turns an otherwise middle-spec phablet into a much more mass-market device. The specifications are still fairly modest, but the hardware they come in, plus a few other notable inclusions, means that this is a completely different proposition than the Mate altogether. There's a black brushed metal finish on the rear. There are white and pink versions also, with drilled speaker holes at the bottom, and a brushed metal band around the edges of the device. The Ascend P6 instantly feels good, solid and, dare we say it, delightful. The chamfered edges that lead into the Gorilla Glass display prove that not only can Huawei do detail, it can also do it very well. Next to Samsung's Galaxy S4, for example, it makes the Korean flagship look and feel shamefully thrown together. Even the dapper HTC One gets a good run for its money in terms of style, fit and finish. Yes, it's fair to say that Huawei has proven that a well-built phone isn't as much a matter of means as it is intention. It's not all solid, smooth lines. That metal band is broken up by the occasional port. The micro USB connection sits at the top, just off-center. The right-hand side houses the power, standby button and volume rocker, plus microSD and micro SIM card trays. If there was a small negative, it's that these buttons do jiggle slightly in place. Not terribly so, but enough to indicate there's room for a tighter fit. The back cover isn't removable, hence the trays, but Huawei has done a good job at keeping them flush with the edges. One related design note, of mixed success, is the 3.5mm headphone jack located at the bottom of the left-hand side. You'd be forgiven for missing it, first of all, as it's tightly plugged up. In fact, at first glance, the small circular protrusion looks like an unusual design feature, like a rivet added on at the end to conceal a functional cavity. It's only when you inspect it a little further that you sense something else is going on. At 4.7 inches across, with the resolution of 1280 by 720, the Ascend P6 might not be in the, increasingly less, exclusive 1080p club, but the 720p in-cell LCD does a good enough job that you likely won't mind. Compared to some of the larger flagships, heck, for some, 4.7 inches is almost mini. The P6's display might seem average, but it really does feel perfectly sized. You can reach your way across it comfortably, and thanks to a minimal bezel, the phone should sit snugly in most hands. We did find that the touch screen was occasionally less responsive to our pokes and gestures from time to time. Pinching out from the home screen to bring up the zoomed-out view sometimes took 2 or 3 attempts to register. Likewise, we sometimes found ourselves prodding more than once to get it to realize that we were trying to open an app. There is a gloves mode, which increases sensitivity, and we noticed the problem occurred less frequently when this was activated, so you may prefer to keep the switch on. P6's unusual camera configuration. With a generous 5 megapixels on the front-facing camera, Huawei has given the P6 a standout feature that many will be drawn to. The rear-facing camera, on the other hand, is a rather less notable 8-megapixel affair. Naturally, we gave both of them a spin to see how they fared. Let's start with that main shooter, shall we? While it might not be the one people are talking about, that doesn't mean it lacks a few tricks of its own. Huawei is keen to play up the main camera's macro credentials, boasting distance-defying 4 cm capabilities. It's based on a Sony sensor. This, of course, encouraged us to get up close and personal with the variety of things, and, all in all, the results are pleasing. Those who like to shoot objects such as flowers and other natural delights will generally get positive results. We found the camera was usually able to pull focus on nearby objects, but sometimes would get itself stuck. One foray out into a local park to test this feature resulted in a few occasions where, despite being 4 centimeters, or more, away from the intended subject, the camera just couldn't fix its focus on the target despite us repeatedly guiding it. By tapping on the object on screen, it has autofocus too. To compound the issue, if we took the picture from a different angle, but the same distance away, the issue disappeared. Perhaps the macro features are slightly sensitive to light levels, but the issue wasn't consistent enough to rouse anything more than minor annoyance, perhaps partly due to the specific boast on this exact feature. Thanks for watching my video.